Guys, in this video, we're going to take a look at Scratch 3, which is a program that's available to students and teachers through the SSO. We're going to talk about how you can use this program to get kids excited about writing. So let's get started by taking a look at a student project. This is a Scratch 3 project created by a student who was learning about landforms in 5th grade. So what you see here is that we have a stage where all the action happens, and we have the code blocks that the student built. And there are some blocks that start the code, some blocks that make the sprite move, and some sprites that make this, some blocks that make the sprite talk. So when I hit the green flag, we're going to see what happens. And Scratch the cat moves over and he starts to tell us what he knows about the desert and what he's learned about landforms. So you can see that even though we did spend a little bit of time learning about coding, the students spent a significant amount of time talking about the science concepts that they learned. This is pretty exciting because you can make Scratch the Cat say whatever you want them to say, and therefore make your coding project about any topic you want. If you've had students read a book, you can have them retell about the story, or if you had them read an article, you could have them talk about the way that the author organized the text. So let's take a quick look at what it looks like when you're starting a project in Scratch. If this is something you decide you want to do with your students, you would not have to do it alone. You could schedule a time, and it takes about 30 minutes for me to help walk students through creating their first project. And if you've already read something that you want students to respond to, even better, by the time we get done with that 30-minute session, they'll have created some code about whatever content you want them to discuss through their coding. So when we're using Scratch, we always start off with an event code. We call this the hat code. It tells the program when to run the code. We usually start with this green flag event code. And then the next thing we do is we come over here and we click on our sprite, and we actually delete them and go find our own sprite. So kids can pick any kind from a ton of different sprites, so they can be very creative in their presentation. So I'm going to pick Fox, and now my sprite that I'm programming is the fox. The next thing we let kids do is come over here and choose a backdrop. So we can make a connection to the setting of a text through the different backdrops that are available, or kids can just pick something that they think is fun. So I'm going to pick street corner. And now I need to make a little bit of code for my fox. So I'm going to grab that event code we talked about earlier, and then I'm going to go to the blue codes, and I can put some movement codes in here that make my sprite move across the page. If I want to test my code, I click the green flag, and you can see he moves. But what we're really interested in is having kids practice typing. So the most interesting code I think that's here is if we go to looks, which is a weird thing. It's looks, but it's the talking code. We can click this purple code and add it here, and we can change it from saying hello to whatever interesting piece of information the student wants to learn about, to share about what they learned. So and then when we hit our green flag, you can see that we have a talking sprite, pretty quick and easy. And you can continue to add motion blocks and talking blocks to tell a story or to tell what you've learned about a text or a concept from social studies or science. So the last thing I want to show you in this brief introductory slide is how you would have students save their work. If students need to stop working and they want to come back to the project later, they would just go to File, and they would say Save to your computer. And this is where they would find their OneDrive, their Clear Creek OneDrive, and they would give this project a name and maybe even a version. This is my first version of this coding. And I could save it in a folder, like maybe this is my 3rd grade folder. So now this file is saved. The next time the student loads Scratch, they would need to go to File and say Load from your computer. and go find that file they saved in their OneDrive so they could open it and work on it again. Again, remember, you don't have to do any of this alone. If you are interested in trying out Scratch with your kids, please send me an email and we'll get you calendared for a 30-minute co-teach.